Davis Cup is right around the corner. We got first round matchups this weekend. And there's 13 matches, I believe, maybe 14, but I'll be ranking all of them in terms of excitement, in terms of players that I'm excited to see, in terms of competitiveness as well. So coming in at number 13 is going to be Australia versus Ecuador. And this is going to be played on outdoor clay in Ecuador. Now, the reason why this is 13th is you look at the Ecuadorian team and it leaves a lot to be desired, especially when looking at the Australian team. We see Vukic, Duckworth, Thompson, Hijikata, Kokonakis. Now, that's a solid team and one that I expect to get the job done. Now, the only caveat here is it is being played in Ecuador on the outdoor clay. Of course, clay is very popular in South America, so you got to give a little bit of credit to the Ecuadorians. A little bit of credit, a little bit of advantage towards the Ecuadorians on the surface, but I think the quality of the players for Australia are just a little bit too high. So I'm going to give the nod to Australia. Now, 12th is going to be the Netherlands versus India. This is going to be played on outdoor hard court in India. Once again, the Indian team leaves a little bit to be desired. You have Sumit Nagal, who is a known player, played at some Grand Slams in the past, but you look at the Netherlands team, and Jesper de Jong is the big one. You got Guy Den Uden as well, and this could be a competitive one. It being played in India, allow gives a little bit of an advantage to India, which then could help their talent disparity against the Netherlands. But yeah, I have them at 12th. 11th is going to be Peru versus Germany. This is actually kind of a sneaky one. If this one was being played in Peru on a clay court, I would have ranked it higher. We look at the two teams. Germany has Jan Struff, Yannick Hanfmann, youngster Justin Engel on their teams, while Peru has a solid squad, a solid three in Eusebio and Varias. Sadly, I don't think indoor hardcourt is going to suit the Peruvians, and I'm going to give Germany the nod in this one. At number 10 is going to be Sweden versus Czechia. The Czech team, you have Yuri Lehečka, which is awesome for them. You have Serginta as well. Now, the Swedish team leaves a little bit to be desired. You have Leo Borg, Ole Wallen. You're missing that true number one for the Swedish team. You don't have any of the Yimmers for Sweden. So, yeah, this one could be competitive. It's being played in the Czech Republic as well, giving the edge to the Czechs. And also indoor hardcourt, which Lehečka should suit his style as well. Now, number 9 is going to be Belgium at Bulgaria. Now, this is interesting because it's on indoor courts, but indoor clay, which you gotta love with the Davis Cup whenever matches like that happen. The Bulgarian team, not a single player in the top 500 because Dimitrov is not playing in it. But then you look at the Belgian team. I mean, it really is a very good team. Big top two in Collignon and Alexander Blocks, the youngster in Blocks. I expect Belgium to win this one. Why this one is 9th is because you never know when you're playing, indoor clay in Bulgaria. So, I think this one's going to be an interesting one. At least I expect Belgium to win them. 8th is going to be Austria at Japan, played on an indoor hardcourt. Japan's team is solid. Mochizuki, Nishioka, Watanaki, and Nishikori is going to be playing against an Austrian team that did well in the Davis Cup last year, making the finals in Sebastian Offner, Rodionov, Lukas Niemeyer, and Lukas Meidler. Now, I think, is going to be a very competitive one. It might not have the star power of some of the other ones we'll get to later, but I expect it to be a competitive matchup between the two. Next is Denmark at Croatia. Sadly, Denmark is missing their best player in Holger Rune. The Croatian team, solid, solid top two in Marin Cilic and Dino Prismic. The Danish team, you got August Holmgren, Elmer Mula. It's not, it's solid. Two players in top 200, I expect Croatia to win this, especially at home on the indoor hard courts. Six is going to be Argentina at South Korea on an indoor hard court. Now, the South Korean team has some names that might be familiar, such as Hyun Chung and Sun Woo Kwon. And the Argentinian team leaves a lot to be desired. No Juan Manuel Cerudo, no Francisco Cerudo, no Sebastian Baez. Instead, we're going with Tirante and Trugaliti. So I think this is going to be a competitive one. Doesn't I think it lacks a little bit of the star power, but yeah, this one ain't too bad. Now, fifth is going to be Slovakia at France, and it's going to be in France on an indoor hard court. The French team, Arthur Rinderknecht, and the website still says Hugo Humbert, but he's not playing in this tournament. He's playing at ATP Montpellier. Also mentions Benjamin Bonzi and Pierre Huet Herbert. Now, Herbert is, from what I know, yeah, so he's more of a doubles player. You can see that in the 66 rank. And they'll be going against Slovakia's Lucas Klein, Alex Molcon, and Norbert Gambos, all names that could be familiar with. And I've seen those in tournaments and Grand Slams before. Can Slovakia pull off the upset against France? I think there's a possibility in that. That's kind of why I ranked it so highly. And as well, also, with Hugo Humbert pulling out of the Davis Cup, his replacement is Alexander Mula, and he's making his debut for the French. I expect France to win this one, but I think it could be close and competitive. Now we get into the top four are I feel like a clear-cut top four for these matchups. We start off with Serbia at Chile. Now, sadly, no Novak Djokovic for Serbia, but they still have a solid team in Hamad Medjedovic, Dusan Lajovic, and they're going to be facing off against Tabilo, Christian Garin, Barrios Vera, and Nicolas Yari. Now, this is, I think, a very, very tightly contested matchup. It is going to be played on outdoor clay, and I'd actually give the slight edge to Chile in this one. Now, number three is going to be Brazil versus Canada in Canada on an indoor hard court. This one would be higher up if Joao Fonseca was playing, or even if Thiago Sebovic was playing as well. Sadly, they are not. The Brazilian team leaves a lot to be desired, but the Canadian team leaves a little bit to be desired too. No Felix, no Chapo. They're going to be relying on Gabriel Diallo, a great player, Liam Droxel, Alexis Galarnou, and Nicolas Arsenault. Now, this is one that I expect Canada to win, but could be interesting. Now, the next one is the top two very interesting matches. This one, I think, is a trap for the United States against Hungary, playing on, once again, indoor clay in Hungary. You look at the Hungarian team, Fabian Marozsan, really solid player. Then you got Puros as well, who we've seen in Grand Slams and other tournaments before. I think now the United States team has more quality. And we look at it, we have Ethan Quinn, Emilio Nava, and you still have Rom and Krajcek for the doubles as well. I mean, the U.S. is a team that's looking in general just to win the Davis Cup competition. So they got to win this match. Obviously, they got to win this match to do that. But it's definitely a test for them early on. And I think because of that is why they brought on Mr. Tommy Paul for this match. Good clay court player. Tommy Paul is a solid clay court player. Tommy Paul is. So I think they brought in a little reinforcement to help their team out a little bit. Now, the number one and best matchup for the Davis Cup this weekend is going to be Great Britain versus Norway. This is going to be in Norway. Now, you think of Norway in the past, you think of Casper Ruud, you think of just basically Casper Ruud. He didn't really have, a Robin to his Batman. Now he has that Robin, and Nikolai Budkov-Kjær, a very high-rated youngster who played in ATP Next Gen last year. So excited to see what that duo can do and if they can cause any troubles to a very, very solid Great Britain team that has Jack Draper returning from injury. He skipped the Australian Open to come play in Norway in the Davis Cup. Gotta respect the passion for his country. And also as well, you have Cameron Norrie, in the Great British team as well. Those Casper the singles matches between Ruud Kier, Draper Norrie are going to be very, very interesting, and that's my number one ranked uh, matchup for the Davis Cup. So yeah, that's it. And people complain about Dave's Cup, and I'm going to be one to complain about it as well. The finals I don't think are working, and I wish they go back to the old format where the finals, semifinals, quarterfinals are played, at the in the locations of the country. Now, but you do like the first round is still Dave's Cup. You're still playing, for example, in Norway in this example. So I think that um I think the spirit and the soul of the Davis Cup can be found in the first round or the second round. So that's kind of why I'm excited for it. I like watching these ties, especially when you get an indoor clay court. USA Bulgaria, sign me up. Love how they brought on Tommy Paul too. Incredible stuff. But yeah, excited for this tournament. Excited for the first round, and yeah, see how these matches go. I'm sure there'll be some upsets, and you'll see how the Davis Cup first round goes.